all from our studio in Central Jakarta. Welcome again to House News. In this episode, we present you the latest information coming right here from the House of Representatives of Indonesia. So now let's have a look at our headlines for today. Through the meeting with the Mongolian ambassador, BKSAP hopes Indonesia and Mongolia can establish a closer relationship not only in diplomacy but also in the economic sector. Commission 1 had a discussion with the ambassador of the Netherlands to discuss cooperation between both countries. Agreement which have not been finalized will be followed up immediately. Commission 11 of the House and the government have agreed to implement the old taxation system in parallel with the core tax system. The government has officially replaced the three-tiered system of BPJS Kesehatan with the standard inpatient health classes or CRIS, which will take effect in all hospitals by June 2025. Good news for Indonesia citizens. Starting February 10, 2025, a free health check program will be available for all citizens. Indonesia and Mongolia have maintained diplomatic relations since 1956, including parliamentary cooperations. BKSAP of the House emphasizes the need to strengthen bilateral ties, particularly in tourism, to enhance mutual benefits. After meeting with the Mongolian ambassador to Indonesia, Vice Chairperson of BKSAP of the House, Hussein Fadlullah, stated, Mongolia's tourism sector has not shown significant improvement in recent years. Despite efforts to boost the industry, it remains below the country's expected target. By building intensive cooperation and sharing knowledge in tourism, Indonesia and Mongolia can work together to improve Mongolia's tourism sectors. The unique cultural similarities can make this effort more effective.
Dan juga mereka berharap tentunya supaya ada saling berbagi informasi mengenai destinasi di Mongolia dan juga Indonesia supaya bisa lebih mengenal. Tourism itu menjadi salah satu topik yang memang menjadi pembicaraan selain edukasi, ekonomi dan lain sebagainya. Itu juga mengenai tourism karena memang BKSAP tentunya mendorong pemerintah Indonesia juga untuk mempersiapkan infrastrukturnya yang lebih baik lagi. Karena memang kita tahu Indonesia ini sangat luas dan juga banyak sekali destinasi wisata yang memang belum terjamah karena memang secara infrastrukturnya juga belum memadai seperti itu.
Moreover, Hussein Fadlullah added, strengthening tourism relations between Indonesia and Mongolia will benefit both countries' economies and cultures. It will also open up opportunities for tourists from both nations to visit. Dodian Tegar, TVA Parliament Report. Commission 1 supports enhancing the long and complex relationship between Indonesia and the Netherlands. Both countries have built strong cooperation in trade, education, and security. Therefore, Commission 1 aims to strengthen this partnership for mutual benefit. After meeting with the Netherlands ambassador to Indonesia, Mark Gerritsen, chairpersons of Commission 1 of the House, Utut Adianto, hope robust bilateral relations between Indonesia and the Netherlands would continue. He highlighted key areas of cooperations including military and defense, cybersecurity, education, and economic growth will benefit both countries.
Ada treaty atau perjanjian kerjasama militer antara kedua negara untuk personelnya yang ketika latihan misalnya cedera atau sakit, nah itu akan mendapat pertolongan dan itu akan kita ratifikasi di Komisi 1. Singkat kata, dari perjalanan panjang ini kita bersyukur kalau perdagangan kita surplus dengan Belanda.
Meanwhile, the Netherlands ambassador to Indonesia encouraged cooperation between both countries to be enhanced in the economic sectors as well as the development of renewable energy.
In cybersecurity, but also in educational exchange, for instance, the possibilities for Indonesian students to study in the Netherlands. And we also discussed how we can have more economic cooperation and more investments from the Netherlands in Indonesia to help Indonesia achieve its ambitions in food security, in renewable energy, and in maritime issues.
Samuel and Rangga, TVR Parliament Report. Since its official implementation in early January 2025, Indonesia's new tax administration system Kurtax has received complaints from users. Therefore, Commission 11 urged to delay the full implementation of Kurtax and allow taxpayers to use old online system. Chairperson of Commission 11 of the House Muhammad Misbakun explained, research and joint investigation have shown the Kurtax system needs further improvements before it can be fully implemented. These changes are necessary to ensure the system works properly. He pointed out the use of the old tax system is a preventive step to ensure state revenue remains stable and unaffected by the new system's implementations.
Direktorat Jenderal Pajak agar memanfaatkan kembali sistem perpajakan yang lama sebagai agar ya bahasanya ya, antisipasi dalam mitigasi implementasi Kortek yang masih terus disempurnakan agar tidak mengganggu kolektivitas penerimaan pajak. Direktorat Jenderal Pajak Kementerian Keuangan menjamin bahwa sistem IT apapun yang digunakan tidak akan mempengaruhi upaya kolektivitas penerimaan pajak di APBN tahun 2025. Direktorat Jenderal Pajak Kementerian Keuangan menyiapkan roadmap implementasi Kortek berbasis risiko yang paling rendah dan mempermudah pelayanan terhadap wajib pajak. Pelayanan ini menjadi concern kita semua tadi. Kelima, Direktorat Jenderal Pajak Kementerian Keuangan tidak mengenakan sanksi terhadap wajib pajak yang diakibatkan oleh gangguan penerapan sistem Kortek sampai pada tahun 2025, selama tahun 2025 ya.
Furthermore, Ms. Bakun emphasized taxpayers facing difficulties due to implementations of Kurtax throughout 2025 will not receive penalties. He also requested cybersecurity aspects be a primary concern in the development of the Kurtax system. Ajib and Divo, TVR Parliament Report. We still have more information this time coming from the budget cut in the education sectors. Stay tuned right here, only on House News. Commission 9 reminds the Ministry of Health about the potential risks of the new policy replacing the current system with the standard inpatient health classes. This policy could lead to negative consequences, including a possible reductions in BPJS Kesehatan revenue. In a working meeting with the Minister of Health and the President Director of BPJS Kesehatan, member of Commission 9 of the House Irma Suryani criticized the implementations of Standard Inpatient Class or KRIS in the Healthcare and Social Security Agency or BPJS Kesehatan. These potential changes could increase the financial burden on the community. Irma Suryani mentioned the Ministry of Health must first improve the overall health system so that the KRIS policy can provide optimal services. Otherwise, raising rates without improving service quality will not be effective.
Memperbaiki tata kelola agar akses pelayanan kesehatan masyarakat itu bisa maksimal diterima oleh rakyat. Bukan sekedar menaikkan iuran, tapi pelayanannya tidak sempurna, tidak maksimal maksud saya. Tidak maksimal. Bisa kita lihat 3 hari orang berobat sudah dikeluarkan. Itu kaitannya dengan tarif inasi bijisnya, dengan kapitasinya. Ini kan harus dibenerin nih. Rumah sakit yang nakal, Pak Menteri Kesehatan juga nanti harus ditindak.
In addition, Irma Suryani encouraged regular evaluations of the KRIS implementation plan. The government must ensure health services for the community are implemented by BPJS Kesehatan without interference from private insurance companies. Halim and Angga, TVR Parliament Report. To achieve Golden Indonesia 2045, Commission 10 emphasized budget efficiency in 2025 should not reduce public services, especially in education. The government must ensure sufficient funding to support learning facilities, scholarship, and teacher development. The Ministry of Education and Culture has implemented budget efficiency measures, reducing spending by 23.95%. Member of Commission 10 of the House Muhammad Nur Purnamasidi stated, the plan for budget efficiency within the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Educations and the Ministry of Research, Technology and Higher Educations must be supported by budget consolidations and restructuring plans in coordinations with the Ministry of Finance. This is intended to ensure all institutions implement the President's directive on budget efficiency. The directive includes reducing ineffective meetings and restricting the numbers of officials traveling for business purposes.
Kementerian Dikdasmen maupun Kemendiktiristek bahwa itu jangan sampai mengganggu pelayan publik terkait kebutuhan dasar. Misal bantuan sekolah, PIP, KIP untuk yang kuliah, sarana prasarana, peningkatan kompetensi guru. Itu tidak boleh, dikurangi Rp1 pun tidak boleh terkurang. Karena apa? Karena ini menyangkut bagaimana kita memastikan pelayanan pendidikan itu tidak turun.
Previously, President Prabowo issued Instructions No. 1 of 2025 regarding budget efficiency in the 2025 state budget and regional budgets. This policy is projected to save 300 trillion rupiah to reallocate state budget resources to support a 5.2% economic growth target. Rifki Hanadit, TVR Parlemen Report. Commission 8 urged the Indonesia Child Protections Commission and Ministry of Women's Empowerment and Child Protections to continue protecting women and children from the potential of sexual violence. Member of Commission 8 of the House An'im Falahuddin Hope, KPAI and KPPPA would promote awareness of protection measures and reporting channels for violence against women and children, which often occurs within families. He pointed out the need for sustained support for victims until the perpetrator receive legal sentences.
Ini tanggung jawab terutama pada diri orang tua kita masing-masing, ya. Bagaimana membatasi pergaulan yang di luar kewajaran, dan juga pemerintah juga bisa menutup akses gadget yang berdampak buruk.
Additionally, other members of Commission 8 of the House Lisda Hendrajoni urged the government to allocate more fund to enhance data collections and distribution of KPPPA and KPAI programs, including in villages.
Kadang-kadang mohon maaf sekarang ini masih banyak ibu-ibu kita yang mungkin menganggap tabu untuk menceritakan bahwa bagian tubuhnya, ya, tentang seksualitas dan segala macam seperti itu. Dan itu perlu pemahaman, perlu pendidikan kepada perempuan-perempuan Indonesia untuk mereka paham apa saja sih yang harus disampaikan kepada anak, kemudian apa yang tidak boleh, apa yang boleh, bagaimana melindungi diri dan sebagainya.
Ferdian Endomi, TVR Parlemen Report. All Indonesians can now receive free medical check-up. Stay tuned right here only on House News. Every Indonesian will receive a free voucher for medical checkups worth millions of rupiah that can be claimed during or after their birthday. The government plans the historic program reach every individual, leaving no one behind. This initiative is a special gift from the government, allowing people of all ages, from infants to elderly, to get health checkup at no cost. The goal is to detect potential health issues early and improve overall public health. The program covers a wide range of medical tests, including screening for heart disease, cancer, hormonal disorders, and nutrition deficiencies. Blood pressure checks and other essential health evaluations are also included. These services will be available at community health centers and clinics working with the Ministry of Health and BPJS Kesehatan. To make participation easy, registration can be done through the Satu Sehat app. People can simply enter their details, choose a location, and select a date for their checkup. Those without smartphone can register through WhatsApp or by visiting Puskesmas and showing their ID cards. Families can also register multiple members at once, ensuring that even those without internet access can join the program. This program is a major step forward in improving public health in Indonesia. By making free health checks widely available, the government is encouraging people to prioritize their well-being. So, mark your calendar and take advantage of this opportunity. Your health is worth it. Miami has just unveiled an exciting new sports attraction, a floating paddle court at Miami Harbor. This court is built from recycled steel from old shipyard materials, making it innovative and eco-friendly. Designed with protective fences, light poles, and viewing areas, it offers a modern and stylish playing space right on the water. Instead of using machines or batteries, the court is transported by boat and anchored securely to ensure stability. Paddle, a sport that blends elements of tennis and pickleball, has been growing in popularity worldwide. This floating court adds a whole new level to the game, allowing players to enjoy the matches while surrounded by stunning ocean views. For now, the floating paddle court will stay in Miami Harbor until next year. After that, it will be moved to the Rosewood Exuma Hotel in the Bahamas, which is set to open in 2028. Luxury and sustainability are becoming increasingly connected, and this floating court is a perfect example. By repurposing materials and minimizing its impact, the court proves that innovation and sustainability can go hand in hand. This floating paddle court is more than just a place to play. It's a symbol of how modern design can enhance sport while respecting nature. Whether you're a paddle enthusiast or simply love unique experiences, this court offers an unforgettable way to enjoy the game on the open sea. Intermittent fasting for weight loss has been one of the most popular health trends of the past decade. It involves only eating within a specific time window and fasting for the rest. Intermittent fasting has become one of the most popular diet trends in recent years. Instead of focusing on what to eat, the method is all about when to eat. It involves scheduled eating and fasting periods, making it an effective method for weight loss and overall health improvement. Many people choose because it offers a natural and flexible way to maintain a healthy body without strict food restrictions. One of the most common methods is the 16-8 method, where a person fasts for 16 hours and eats only within an 8-hour window. Another popular method is the 5-2 diet, where a person eats normally for 5 days a week and reduces calorie intake on the remaining 2 days. These methods are popular because allow people to diet without feeling overly restricted. Beyond weight loss, intermittent fasting offers many other health benefits. Studies suggest it can improve heart health, lower the risk of chronic diseases, and even slow down the aging process. It also linked to better metabolism and body cell regeneration. As more people become aware of the importance of a healthy lifestyle, intermittent fasting is expected to remain a popular choice. Its flexibility makes it appealing to those who want a simple and sustainable approach to dieting. Unlike strict calorie counting diets, this method allows people to enjoy their meals while still maintain the health. Whether the goal is weight management, disease prevention, or simply feeling better, intermittent fasting provides an easy and effective way to achieve a healthier life. And that information wraps up our house news for today. I'm Reni Menario and all the crew. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time.